Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Frozen with Outdoor Adventures, and today I just want to sit down and talk a little bit about my last hike on the Susquehannock Trail System. It's an 84-mile hike right here in northern central Pennsylvania, and it was supposed to be completed over 5 days. As you know, if you've seen the last video, I had to actually tap out due to injury on day 3 around lunchtime. Luckily, everything worked out. I was able to get a hitch about an hour up 30 miles to my car, but I put myself in a position where I had to rely on others to get out, which I never like doing. While I consider this trip a failure, it wasn't because I didn't finish, but because the more I thought about it, the more I could have done in my preparations to kind of make this trip actually work out. I mean, I had 5 days of perfect weather. I had 5 days off work. The timing was just absolutely perfect. And I only ended up making it about 50 of the 84 miles of the hike. Now, this was due to several factors. The first day around lunchtime, I started to have a reoccurring pain in my big toe joint, which I was able to fix overnight that first night. I was able to do lots of stretches. I set my alarm for every 2 hours just to wake me up, just so I could hit it for 5 minutes with the toe stretch, and then I went back to sleep. I woke up pretty early that day, and as soon as I stepped on the ground, I was like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this. But because I was kind of not stretching before the trail, I thought everything would just kind of iron out once I got on the hiking trip. I could have done more stretching. Now, because I didn't do more stretching on the toe, I was starting to walk with a different gait to try to fix things up, which created a whole bunch of tightness in my glute on the same leg. That in itself was fine, but because I had tightness in my glute, I was overcompensating in my left leg, and that ended up messing my IT band up. So now we have three different compounding problems where I was literally packing up the night before, and I was looking at my knee brace, which usually kind of irons out any kind of IT band problems that I may have for at least 3 or 4 days before they get bad. I looked and I said to myself, meh, I'm not going to need that. So I could have just took this very, very light knee brace as a precaution, which probably would have fixed my IT band issues. On top of that, I use Body Glide religiously. I tend to chafe a lot in hot and humid Pennsylvania weather. Body Glide helps to an extent, but I always need a little bit of extra help with A&D. I was chafed incredibly bad by day 2 because I didn't apply any of these items because I was too worried about my toe around lunchtime. On top of that, I have a reoccurring little callus blister thing from I don't know how long ago, way before the PCT, and I usually keep a whole bunch of Leukotape on the bottom of my foot balm. Just some little strips that I can tear off at the time. Now, I didn't check this when I planned my hike. When I was packing up my hike, I usually just, check this, and I just didn't. I just flat out forgot to check it, and that was a failure on my part. That also was compounding in the way that I was walking because I was chafed everywhere. Right, it was pretty bad. Now, I did have one small piece of Leukotape on the bottom of this little foot balm tin, and I was able to use it, but it was so old. This was like middle of the PCT last year, so like July of 2024, not 25, but 24. I used it, and I think it immediately fell off the first day because I couldn't find it after that. So when I got home, I put 6 more little Leukotape strips on here. I refilled my duct tape, which I also couldn't get off my trekking poles. I keep a little, I don't know, like 2-foot roll on each one, just in case I need to do any kind of repairs or, apply a bandage or whatever I need to do. Also couldn't do that. So there were many things that I could have done better. And I think it's important to stop and take a look at what you're bringing. Make sure you have your supplies. Test your water filter. Had a problem with my water filter on the last hike that I just took a couple days ago. The reason why, and you guys have kind of come to my rescue when I called it a failure of a hike, it wasn't a failure of the actual hike or tapping out early, I did make it successfully back to my car. I met a very nice man at a bar, and he offered to drive me an hour to my car, 30-something miles up the road to the trailhead that I was parked at in the Northern Gateway. But it was because I forgot these little details. I didn't do this. I didn't stretch all that much. I didn't test myself on any of these day hikes. I was just excited to hike, 5 days in the woods with perfect weather. And I think, as you gain experience with hiking, I've done the PCT now, I've done the AT. I probably have around 6,000 or maybe more miles under my belt over the past 10 years of backpacking. And I've become a little, I don't know if complacent is the word, but just we seem to, wow, I don't need a map to this place now. And that's wrong. And I've heard many people talk about just thinking it's going to be easy. It's always going to come easy. I'm never going to run into a problem. You don't take the extra precautions that you used to whenever you were kind of like a beginner starting out. And I think that is how people get into trouble. And this is why I'm making this video, is because I feel so strongly about my mistakes on this video that I wanted to explain why this happened. Had I brought that knee brace, I probably could have made it an extra day. Had I brought the Leukotape, again, I could have made it an extra day. Had I used Body Glide the first morning, I don't know why I didn't do this. I did it every other morning. I just flat out forgot. And, having the A&D or powder at night, that solves pretty much all of my chafing issues, and it would allow me to walk normally. So all these compounding things led me to walk into town of Cross Fork and, go to that burger place. Burger was great, no complaints there. And luckily it all worked out. But, if that place was closed, I didn't have a signal to really call anybody. I didn't use a Garmin like I did on the PCT. That service has been canceled because, usually my phone kind of picks up the slack, but it didn't. I was not able to get a hold of my wife the last day, so not really sure what I would have done other than sticking out my thumb and trying to hitch an hour up the road with not a lot of traffic on the road. And I think it's very, very important. And what I've learned and what I've taken away from this trip is to always make sure that all my gear is in order. I have everything that I need. I have a fully stocked Diddy bag because all this stuff that I forgot was in a bag that I never checked. I just grabbed this bag expecting to have everything that I needed. And when I got out there, I realized that I didn't. I mean, I had forgotten my rain jacket too. It wasn't supposed to rain, but it could have. And that would have been no fun at, I think the lowest temperature we saw was like 42, 43 degrees out there on day 2, I think. That would have sucked. That would have been horrible if the wind was blowing and I didn't have any way to cover up. I would have had to sacrifice my fleece. So in planning your future backpack trips, do a quick gear check. Take 5 or so minutes just to look things over. Open your bag up. Make sure you got your ibuprofen and your poop pills. Maybe take some extra water treatment tablets, which you'll see in the next video of why I should have done that. And just genuinely be prepared to not be a burden on somebody else or, worst case scenario, search and rescue. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Real quick video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you haven't seen that STS video, check it out. I'll leave it up in the cards up above on the right-hand corner. And be expecting another video from me, which I did successfully compete. It was an awesome trip, and I cannot wait to show you it. I'm in a new hammock, and I absolutely loved it. So I'll see you next week, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and not only be safe, but be prepared out there. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you on the trail.